The final tool related to environmental health is an interaction analysis approach. Up to this point, we have addressed the impact of environmental exposures one at a time. Increasingly, we find that the interactions between exposures produce unexpectedly large impacts. Let us now look at a strategy called interaction analysis that involves considering the effect of two or more exposures to understand and control the impacts of environmental exposures. Whereas risk assessment approaches make the assumption that each exposure stands on its own. Thus, if there is more than one type of exposure, we need to make the assumption that the total impact is the sum of the two impacts. For example, if one exposure has a relative risk of 4 and a second has a relative risk of 6, we assume that the exposure to both results in a relative risk of 10. Many times, adding together the relative risks does not provide an approximation of the risk of two or more exposures. However, in an increasing number of situations, we are recognizing that there are interactions between exposures themselves, so that the presence of both exposures results in an overall impact much greater than expected. This includes, for example, the interaction of cigarette smoking and asbestos exposure. For instance, we may find that having both exposures results in a relative risk of a bad outcome of 4 times 6 or 24 instead of 10. This type of interaction is called a multiplicative interaction or a synergistic effect. There are many organizations that are important to environmental health. One is the National Center for Environmental Health, which is part of the CDC. Also with the CDC is the Environmental Health Services. Another organization, and I've mentioned this one before, is the Environmental Protection Agency. Third, under the United States Department of Labor is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA. And in California, we have the Department of Industrial Relations, which is Cal-OSHA. These two organizations protect us in the workplace to make sure that we are not exposed to dangerous materials, chemicals, or otherwise. Another problem is e-waste. E-waste are all the cell phones and computers and electronic devices that we throw away. These devices contain lead, cadmium, and other heavy metals that are dangerous to the environment, and they need to be disposed of correctly. Some people that don't have morals will take these e-waste products and dump them in poor countries. This is e-waste dumping, and it is against international treaty, one called the Basel Convention. This is intended to keep people from shipping their e-waste to developing countries. Following this video is a short video about the problem of e-waste dumping. I hope you are all aware of the Occ Recycling Center. Orange Coast College was the first college in the nation to have a recycling center, and it has been in existence since the 70s. Let's visit their webpage to see what they have to offer. Here is the Occ Recycling Center webpage. They're celebrating 45 years serving the community. They have hours Monday through Sunday, so that's every day of the week. And you can take your recycling items and they will give you money. Here they'll pay you back 5 cents per container under 24 ounces, and you can see all the different prices and what they'll take. Something that they also take is e-waste. So this is limited to computers, non-DLP televisions, computer monitors, cell phones, and laptops.